Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Xbox Factor podcast. I'm your host, MrBooMStickXL, and we have a rock solid panel. I talked about having some guests along with our regular Xbox panel members that you're used to seeing each and every Thursday. I hope that everyone actually wasn't looking for us at noon today. I think I was pretty clear about doing a late show because I wanted to cover everything that happened at Inside Xbox. And my goodness, folks, there is a lot to talk about. So let me introduce the panel. First up, you know him as the man that will not walk through the door first and make sure that you take the axe to the head rather than him. Zemi Games, welcome to the show, dude.
Thank you so much, Boom. Super excited to be here. True. But yeah, thank you so much. Super excited to be here. So much to talk about. So let's just jump to the next person.
Okay, very good. And you know him as the Cape Crusader who is still waiting for that special announcement from either Rocksteady or WB Montreal. He is our resident Batman everything. Cybernox, welcome to the show, dude.
Hey, glad to be here, Boom. I was hoping for a Batman game, but we got a lot good, and we got some good announcements as well. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay for that for right now. But let's get to these topics.
Okay, well, again, there's really a lot to cover, and we're going to be bouncing around. We're not going to actually talk about everything in verbatim order that happened because there's really so much to talk about. Some things are worth more talking about than some of the smaller announcements, but we're going to try and get everything in tonight's show. Of course, you know him as the man from Florida, the man who is the cyber assassin, Tempestsun. Welcome to the Xbox Factor podcast. This is the first time you and Cybernox are on the show.
That is true. Hopefully not the last time, but
absolutely not.
Looking forward to today was big. It was, not everybody got what they wanted, but we got a lot. So
there is a significant amount to talk about, and this is I'm going to say it right now, folks. You can hear the excitement in my voice that this is probably one of the best XOs of 2019 without a doubt. Mm-hmm. And the amount of information that we have in the small show that they put together has been incredible. Obviously, we do have another panel member. I don't know what's exact. He's running a little bit behind, and you know him as the London gamer. No, actually, talking about this is my brother, the Welsh gamer. He should be here momentarily, but I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here. We have 62 people watching live, and that is pretty damn awesome. Thank you guys for allowing us to do this show, and that you're excited just as much as we are to talk about Xbox. But I want to talk about something that the show opened with, and I know that it's a small little something, but tomorrow is the launch of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now I'm staying up past midnight to play this game without a doubt because I'm actually been very disappointed that I could not play it in EA Access. Normally you can play everything, and they held this one back for some reason, so I was a little disappointed. But the commercial they opened up with, I know, Zemi, you have something to say about it, and we're going to get to you in a second, but if you are a fan of Titanfall, if you remember when Titanfall was first coming out, they had that amazing Titanfall commercial, and it was, they spent a couple of bucks on that, and it was really good. And EA comes back now. Again, obviously, Microsoft has the marketing rights for this game, which is big. That's a big deal. But EA themselves are the ones responsible for doing the advertising, and they did this commercial. I thought it was pretty damn cool. Now, maybe because I'm a big old Star Wars nerd, maybe because I've already watched The Mandalorian Episode 1 twice, and I'll probably watch it again this evening because I'm really in love with that series. But Zemi, you thought you weren't as high as I am on it. Why don't you talk about that for a second?
Yeah, so first off, I'm super excited for the Star Wars game. It comes out tonight. I already have it installed on my Xbox. Cannot wait to play it. But as I was watching that trailer, I liked it for what it was, but I thought it was a little cringy, to be honest with you. Especially whenever that flashlight comes through the window and the guy looks down at it like, oh my God, I remember that, or something like that. Like, realistically, if somebody threw a flashlight through your window, you're going to start screaming and cursing and just going everywhere. And then, whenever it was cutting in from like the imaginary Star Wars fighting versus the people just running on rooftops making blaster sounds with their mouth. I just thought that was a little cringy. But overall, I like the trailer. I like what they were doing. I understand what they were doing and like, you know, the artistic approach to that trailer. And I'm excited for the game, but I did think that trailer was just a little cringe.
Okay. I mean, listen, it's not for everyone, and I get it. And again, maybe because I'm a big old nerd, you know, I don't know. But I thought it was pretty cool. Tempest, I want to get your opinion on it. You know, obviously having a Star Wars game and having the marketing rights on a year where Star Wars is going to be big, right? You know, The Mandalorian just released. Episode 2 is tomorrow. We have episode 9 coming in December. We have a new single player story driven, you know, canon content coming out tomorrow. What do you think of the commercial, bro? I mean, do you think this is something that they needed to do to keep, you know, to push the excitement for this game?
I mean, it just reminds you that games are fun. I mean, what it was depicting was a young girl acting out being like a Jedi. I know we've all done it, just like Zemi has said. And yeah, there might have been some cringe moments, but it's a reminder that this stuff is fun. That's the whole point of it. And I'll be honest with you, it's been a long time since we've been able to play Jedi in a game, like really play Jedi. You know what I mean? So you know, not everybody loved it. I personally loved The Mandalorian. Like I thought it was amazing. I'm all about that Star Wars hype right now. And so yeah, it was a cute commercial. The head of not the head, but the leader of the game at Respawn was pretty charismatic. He
was very emotional. You see, he was holding it back, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could tell he cared, and how could you not? I mean, that crowd was wild. So he was probably just like, "Wow, this is awesome," you know. So no, it was a good opener, good reminder. And if anybody's forgotten, if you have a PC that is capable of running games, it will be on the $15 version of EA Access. So that's probably what I'm going to do tomorrow, is play it on my PC for now, see if I like it, and play it on EA Access. But yeah, no, great commercial. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I thought it was fun. So yeah,
I mean, again, at the end of the day, it's fun. Cybernox, before I get to you, do I have to thank Robert Jones with the outstanding and very generous $10 super chat? He says this: seems almost every game that Xbox has marketing for comes to Game Pass. Wonder if Jedi Fallen Order will as well. Listen, hey, Robert, I want first of all say thanks for being here, dude. Really appreciate that. The generosity is not to be believed, but you might be onto something there, simply because we know that, I mean, you've seen some of the big games get there, right? You've seen Devil May Cry show up there. You've seen, you know, a few of the other big ones. The Metro Exodus showed up there.
To his point, most of the games that have Xbox marketing rights do end up on Game Pass. A lot of them do.
Yeah, I mean, they had the marketing rights for Resident Evil, I believe, so maybe that could be coming to Game Pass, so that would be pretty good. We have to welcome to the show BitCloud Gaming, who was in the chat, and I figured, let me throw this dude an invite. Welcome, BitCloud.
Yeah, what's up? You guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you just fine, my brother. We were just talking about, and I'm glad that you got here when you did. We were just talking about the opening of the Inside Xbox with these Star Wars commercials. Zemi seems to think it was a little cringy. Most of us are in agreement that it was pretty good. But before I get your opinion, Cybernox, you saw it. Are you a huge Star Wars fan? And did you think that this commercial was good enough to get the people excited for the game that launches tonight at midnight?
I would say I'm not as hardcore Star Wars fan, but I'm just I'm a notch above a casual.
Okay.
But I just,
you don't have a degree, but you
exactly. I just saw the commercial that you guys talked about, because I actually missed like the beginning of the show a little bit, but I thought the commercial was really well done.
It just looked fun.
I thought it grasped the idea of, you know, of the girl becoming a Jedi, and, you know, the connection that she had with her father, right? That you see that he sees the pictures of her on the wall. Man, that I like that commercial. I really did. That intro was very well done, and it kind of, you alluded to earlier, you know, it reminds me of that Titanfall commercial that they did as well. Really well done. I think it hyped everyone up. You can see that the characters from the game are on there, and the effects were really good too. So yeah, I thought it was a great way to start the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it was just this is not a major topic. It's just something I wanted to kind of get the test of waters with the with the crowd. BitCloud, did you get a chance to watch the opening? And are you excited for Jedi Fallen Order, which releases? And I think King Boo in the chat says that you might be able to pick it up at 9 at his GameStop. So I'm assuming that when this show is done, guess what Boom is doing?
Well, I streamed the entire show.
Oh, nice, dude. Excellent.
Yeah,
Really
those
good.
shows from start to finish. It was funny, the reaction. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, that trailer was fire." I was like, "Yeah, it was great. I liked the trailer." Some people were like, "Oh, why are we showing Star Wars?" I'm like, "You guys are Siths." That's all I gotta say. And it's current time. That's all I'm about to say to Zimmy. Zimmy's a Sith if he didn't like Star Wars, so that's fine. But it looks good. This is one of the best looking titles that they've released in a long time. I've been hyped for this game for the longest, and hopefully it lives up to everything in terms of our expectations. I really want to see what they do with this game. You already know we've always had this intrigue of what's going to be shown in here. For example, are there going to be Easter eggs to like Master Windu? Are there going to be stuff like that? Are we going to be able to go to the Jedi Academy and see the slaughter?
Oh,
stuff like that. You know, there's so many cool stuff. Remember, this is happening in between this in Order 66. So Jedi's are being hunted. So I imagine that Siths are obviously going to be in the game. You're going to be fighting Sith. So it opens up possibilities to what that can be. And hell, it could very well turn into their next particular Star Wars, The Force Unleashed type of title. If it really does take off. The only thing I really don't want to see, and we already talked about this, I just don't want them to go over the realms and like have microtransactions in any of the future sequels, like for lightsabers and customization. I don't want none of that stuff in my Star Wars game. I don't need that. Just keep it how it is. It looks good. I am a little upset that there's no dismemberment, and they gave us this cartoon response saying that, oh well, in the movies it only happens at critical points. I don't care about that. This is a video game. Give me my dismemberment. So
you can I did see that you can
you can put up creatures,
certain creatures,
only works for bosses. Only on bosses and critical moments in the story, but not actual like like clones that you'll face, or I think it works on droids. No. Yeah, might work on droids. I'm not sure, but not on actual clones.
How about that double-bladed lightsaber?
Ooh,
that looks dope.
Fire.
Which one we talking about? We talking about the one from the movie?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
We talking about Race, the one that flips.
No, not that one. We're talking about the one from the trailer. From the trailer
right at the end.
Yeah, he had the double blue dude.
Oh yeah. That was really cool. I liked it. I'm definitely feeling the passion for this one. I just hope that it lives up and everybody enjoys this one. Hopefully it's good. And it really does set a tone for Star Wars that should have already been. Battlefront should have been setting this tone that it was a platform to buy, right? I remember a lot of us were hyped for it. We're like, okay, EA is going to take over Star Wars. I mean, there's going to be a lot of players, it's going to be a lot of cool stuff. We get the game, the first one, half the content is not even in the game. The second one, progression is pretty much pay to win.
Yeah, man,
I don't like that.
I'm glad they went with the single player. I'm really excited to see what they do with this game. I think that Cal is a pretty interesting character. The actor that's playing him is from Gotham, who played Joker. He's an amazing young actor, and I think this is going to be a big deal. Real quick, before you talk about Rare's new IP, which was a big shocker for me, I have to thank a couple of people. First of all, Spider-Man with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much for that. He says, I enjoyed X019. How anyone could bash Game Pass is beyond me, and I agree with you. And Foreign Object, I loved that name because it always makes me think of like the old WCW days when Roddy Piper would pull those brass knuckles out of his kilt and hit somebody in the head and win the match. He drops an outstanding and generous $10 super chat. He says, just dropping in to show some love and support for one of my favorite content creators. Well, thank you for saying that, dude. That's really awesome. Hope you and the panel have a blessed night. Back to the Outer Worlds. I'm out. Yes, Outer Worlds is dope. I got up to the highest level, and I'm hoping for DLC for that. But let's get into the big, rare new IP reveal. And that's called Everwild. And I got to be honest with you, I was really taken aback of how gorgeous and alive that game seemed. Now, Tempest, I want to go to you first on this because you had some interesting things to say off the air. What were your thoughts on the new reveal for Rare's second game that they're working on?
The first words that came out of my mouth, I was like, "Wow, the Zelda team got to work on good hardware."
That's great. I love it.
It's just what it reminded me of, man. The art style, just the way everything moved, the characters. They weren't too outlandish. They weren't like Sea of Thieves. I mean, they looked great. The one freaking the antlers,
That opened up.
Yeah, they opened up like a flower or something. It's crazy. I mean, so the wildlife looks cool. I mean, my wife freaked out about it. She was like, "It looks awesome," but she's like, "What is it?" I'm like, "I don't know, but it looks really cool." I mean, it's probably going to be like an adventure style game. It looks like you have companions with you. It was like the main character, and then she had two other helpers or something. But just it honestly did look like how I would love if, for some weird reason, the Zelda team would make a Zelda for like, I don't want to catch hate here, but like a proper console. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I mean, again, it's like, again, this was a reveal that still kept its cards close to the vest.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, we don't know if it's in a multiplayer game. We don't know if it's an action adventure game.
Yeah,
you don't know if you're going to be swinging swords or shoot. If you wouldn't be shooting any guns. More than likely,
open world.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. But it definitely looked interesting. Lot to take in. I want to watch the trailer a couple of times to kind of really, because again, there was so much information on today's show that it was a little bit of information overload, in my opinion. Yeah. Especially when you're trying to put a show together, on the go, and trying to make sure that the 137 people here come hang out and have a good time. But real quick, before I get to Zemi Games on your opinion on this, I want to thank Heated Heavy 505, who has become a new channel member. Thanks so much for that, dude. I really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the content that you are. You feel that the being a channel member is worth it. So thank you for your support, dude. Zemi Games, let me get your opinion on this. Now Rare is a developer that has been hard at work to make Sea of Thieves the game it is today. And a lot of people you talk to, it may not be for you, and it's not for me. And I've said that publicly, but I applaud Rare for really grinding to make that game an amazing experience for people who enjoy it. And then they show this off, which I didn't expect. I mean, when we knew Rare was going to be here, you don't know. Usually it's a Sea of Thieves thing. What were your thoughts on the new reveal of Everwild?
Yeah, so I mean, I thought it was going to be a Sea of Thieves thing as well. As soon as they, it said the word Rare, and then they mentioned new IP, and I was like, ooh, and I started sitting closer to the TV. I have no idea what it is, but it looks really, really nice. Like the artistic graphics are just absolutely beautiful. I don't think almost probably anyone was watching that and not thinking this looks like Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yes, it does.
I mean, there's just not so much that I could talk about because I have no idea what it is. Is it an action adventure? Will there be multiplayer? Is it going to be a hack and slash? Like, what exactly is it? The only thing I know is that it looks really, really beautiful. So, I wasn't a fan really of Sea of Thieves. I like the overall idea. I thought it was very lacking content. But this game definitely caught my interest, and I'm definitely going to have to download it whenever it comes to Game Pass.
Yeah, it's a small taste of the world that we're going to be running around in. We have no idea whether there's going to be combat. I'm assuming that it's going to be an action adventure type of game. It might even be an action RPG type of game for all we know. But I have to say I didn't anticipate a Rare reveal, and we got it. And I'm very excited about that. Cybernox, what were your thoughts on this, dude? I mean, Rare, obviously they are a story developer, and we've heard rumors the last couple of months that they have been working on another game. As a matter of fact, I think that during that Matt Booty interview, what I really enjoyed about what he said was that he clarified that, yes, all of the teams that we have in the first-party studios are working on multiple projects, and that's really good. And we knew Rare could potentially be working on one, and they revealed it. Are you excited to see more?
To be honest, I'm 50-50.
Okay.
Just because I really didn't get a lot from that trailer. You can see the art style. You can really you know, you can tell that it's a rare game. It was a very pretty game, but you couldn't really tell what the game was about. You know, you see that you had some kind of maybe a family, or you had a group with you that you guys are going through this land. But I mean, I'm 50-50 on it. Like, I would love to see it more, see what this game is actually about, and then, you know, see if my interest will actually peak on this game. But I'd be curious. Like Sammy said, he doesn't know what kind of game it is. What type of game do you think would you like to play? What type of game do you think it should be?
I don't know. I mean, you know, I think what it would probably be best suited for is maybe like a Fable type of game, like an action, like role playing game. And then, you know, Rare, they like to do multiplayer. So it might also have co-op elements in it as well, similar to how like Fable did their co-op, maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, it's like I said, it was a little bit of a taste. It was certainly a big surprise for me personally, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this game, because obviously it did remind me immediately of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and for God's sakes, if you have not played that game, I've beaten it twice. It was amazing, and I would be really interested to see where Rare, you know, that's a very talented studio, where they would take it. Big Club, before I get to you, I have to thank Sir X-Men twice. He drops the first $2, which says, I want Crossfire. Game looks awesome day one. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Crossfire in a big way. And he says, I want to play Honey, I Shrunk the Kids game. Yeah, we're going to talk about Obsidian's next game.
Grounded.
Grounded. We'll talk about that in a second. BitCloud, were you surprised, like all of us were, that Rare actually showed off their new game? And what did you think of what you're seeing?
Well, first of all, I was happy. You know, they were showing off something new.
Yes.
I was like, thank God, show off something. I mean, it's been how long since we've seen something new from them?
Quite a bit. Quite a bit.
I was okay. This is fine. This is good. It's a change of pace. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good show. Maybe it's gonna be great. You know, in every single way. Now there was some good elements to the show, but obviously we're gonna get into it. But I thought it was good. It was nice. It was something new. I was shocked by how it looked. The graphics, it really did remind me of Breath of the Wild, like better like a sharper version of Breath of the Wild.
Yes,
yeah, better. Again, as far as what it is and how we'll play, I'd just say open world, maybe just an open world game.
Yeah, it seems as if,
I'll say more open world. That game looks like it's all about the scenery. I was kind of, when I first saw it, I was thinking, you remember that game Journey?
Oh yeah,
Journey vibes, because I was like, oh, the colors and everything look really, really good.
Yeah, everything
more of an exploration.
It reminded me of like a graphic novel. Everything kind of jumped off the page, or more specifically, jumped off the screen.
Yeah.
Definitely. One thing you got to remember about Rare is I think they quite literally have the most diverse lineup or history of games.
Yes,
ever.
absolutely. Great
you go
point.
from Jet Force Gemini to A Perfect Dark, and then to Conker's Bad Fur Day. Like, they're chaotic. You really don't know what the game's going to be. I mean, Sea of Thieves is outrageously, it's original. You know, like, who thought they'd make something like that? So who knows, man? But all I know is it looks really nice, and hopefully it comes out like, good potential. Yeah, hopefully it comes out like, I want it real soon. So hopefully it doesn't take forever. So.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 possibly, but I doubt it. Maybe 2021 would probably be holiday 2021 if they're showing the game. You know, the one thing that you have to take into account is that
they pre-alpha or early.
Right. Yeah. Phil Spencer has said that he is, he doesn't like showing games too far out, 18 months. Yeah. So is the game 18 months away? That's a great question, and we're going to start here. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions that are going to be asked by different publications once the dust finally settles off for today's show. Let's move on to Obsidian's new IP reveal. Now, this was, again, I have to really stress, I really love the transparency with these developers when they come out, because obviously one of the running jokes is that when Microsoft buys a company, they make them do this. They made them do that job. They locked them down in the basement and said, you guys aren't going home until this new game that sucks to make, right? That's what everyone thinks. And it's a survival game. It's a multiplayer survival game called Grounded. And I got to be honest with you, it's probably something that I am not going to play. It's just not my vibe, to be honest with you. And no, I don't just play dude bro shooters either. I like a lot of things. My palette is very wide, but it's interesting because it's a new IP. They've been working on it for a year. They were working on it. That was confirmed by the director before the purchase of Microsoft. So that's pretty interesting. And I think that just goes to show you the confidence that Microsoft, more specifically Phil Spencer, has in these studios, because you take a company like Ninja Theory with Bleeding Edge, which we're going to get into, and I'm very excited for that game because I'm a Power Stone fan and I really get that vibe. But going back to Obsidian's game, this is the game that they were working on. It's a smaller team, a very small team of Obsidian. They said we're working on some pretty big RPGs that we're not ready to talk about right now. So we're going to talk about this. It's still a new IP. And the one thing that you have to tip your hat to Microsoft is that it's not cookie cutter Gears and Forza and Halo. All of these other games that are coming out are exactly what the people have been asking for. Now, it may not be the next God of War, and that's fine, but those games are coming. I want to go to Zemi Games on this. What were your thoughts on Obsidian's Grounded?
To be honest, at first I was a little depressed, and then they said, but we're going to work on RPGs. We have bigger RPGs like that we'll hear from in the future. At first I was depressed. I was distraught. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Oh, my goodness.
I was on the edge.
I was saving my last for this one.
I think that the game looks good. I don't know if it's going to be a game that I'm going to spend hours and hours into. But I think the idea of it looks good. I mean, I think they said that it has like survival elements in it. I don't know if it's going to be multiplayer. I don't remember if they said or not, but just from what I saw, it looks good. It kind of has some Disney graphics.
It did.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's not too much, I could think of. Now the title, though, I thought that the title was kind of cool. But I also kind of thought of I guess like a darker turn on things as well, because the title of the game's Grounded, which they're really close to the ground. They're small people, Honey the Shrunk the Kids kind of thing. But it looks like they're all children, so I started thinking to myself, maybe their parents like shrunk them down, and that is their form of grounding their kids or something. I don't know. I don't know.
That's great.
But I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to see more.
Yeah, I mean, again, folks, listen, the thing is this. People want new reveals, and we're talking about two of them back to back, right? It's a new reveal. It may not be your game, but it might be someone else's type of game. You got to remember, and I say this all the time, I'm going to get a T-shirt printed. Maybe I should actually print these shirts and sell them. Not every game is for every gamer, and that's okay. Big Cloud, let me get your opinion on this, dude, because you obviously got a chance to watch it live because you streamed it from your channel. Which is dope. I didn't even know that. So I hope you had a lot of people watching. That's great.
Like over 200.
That's dope. I love it.
Nice,
I love to hear the success. What was your thought on Obsidian's smaller game from a smaller team? But and again, Zemi was on the edge of madness, but he was brought back by the head of Obsidian saying, "No, we're working on RPGs. Don't worry."
Yeah, I like how you said smaller to open this game. But for the bigger titles, obviously I'm excited for what they do in the future. But for this title right here, I don't know if y'all heard of that movie that came out a long time ago. You probably have kids. You probably have your kids who've seen it. It's called Ant Bully. I immediately thought Ant Bully when I first saw this. Okay. It looked like Ant Bully. And I was like, hey, why am I looking at an Ant Bully simulator? And then they started crafting. And I was like, that looks like Fortnite, doesn't it?
Yes, it has a lot of elements.
Like Fortnite. Yeah, that looked like Fortnite. I'm like, okay, who are they trying to fool with this, and who are they trying to go after with this? And then the gameplay went into it. I was like, okay, this is clearly not for me, but I can see somebody probably buying this or definitely getting into it. I mean, obviously it's on Game Pass, so obviously, that's one thing they did. That was definitely the highlight of the show. They showed a lot for Game Pass, so Game Pass is a lot of value there, but also, they pretty much killed Google Stadia at the show.
Oh God,
dude, they buried it.
I'm not even joking. Like it was so sad.
Yeah.
Like,
do you remember what happened at the crash of the 1983, where they buried all of those ET cartridges?
Yes,
that's what's going to happen to Stadia.
That's Stadia right now. They're taking those little boxes and putting them in the desert and getting rid of them at this point because There was literally nothing that I saw that was going to obviously the Stadia that was hyped for. Nothing. I'm like, Mortal Kombat. Wow, I'm so hyped to play Mortal Kombat on the stream. I played that already. I'm not looking forward to playing that on the streaming. Here comes Microsoft. Well, we have X amount of things. We have this, that, that. I'm like, you know what? That's good. That's good. So that was a good point of the show. They killed Stadia in the process, even though I don't think they intentionally wanted to. They pretty much did. Until Stadia steps up, they're pretty much dead in the water. I'm not hyped for Stadia. I never was, but there was that.
I wouldn't take it for free at this point. That's the thing.
After this game was shown, though, this show kind of goes to the realm where a lot of the other games from the Xbox Game Studios have this same art style. I don't know if y'all noticed this.
Yeah.
And it was throwing me through a loop. I'm wondering what in guy's name is the point behind that. Now, I don't know if y'all heard about YouTube's new policy when it comes to kid-friendly stuff.
I changed all my videos today, dude. It was a painstaking pain in the what.
You changed the kid friendly or not?
No, because some people curse. I don't normally curse. I keep
okay. So here's the thing. This is where the issue. This is where I was looking at this. Now a lot of people were, obviously was voicing their frustration about it either in the chat or on the panel, and I was quiet during this whole segment because I was reflecting on this and also what was going on with YouTube, right? So YouTube is silenced. For those of you that do not know in the chat, YouTube is pretty much going to another realm of stupidity when it comes to censoring creators.
Yes.
If you post a video, right, and they find anything in your content that might be kid friendly, and keep in mind, YouTube has a segment of YouTube for kids. It's called YouTube Kids. But if they find something on your channel that actually is kid friendly, and this can also fall into video games, right? What they will do is they will flag it. And they will not only take away
$42,000.
Oh yeah, you could be possibly fined $42,000 if it's like multiple cases. Yeah,
per
you can
video.
Per video. And then after that, also they will disable the comments. So all you guys commenting, your comments won't be there. Obviously you probably can like the video, I would assume, but you can't comment. End screens won't be on the video. It's like none of that stuff. All those features are gone if this stuff happens. So I'm wondering what was the point of having all these kiddie looking games, because that's going to look bad on streamers. Remember, a lot of people stream to YouTube and Twitch. And
I just you know what what I think. Listen, we can spend 3 hours talking about this, and it's not. All I can say is that I'm going to throw this out there to you right now. If you want to reach out to me in the DM, thanks to Jamie Moran of the UK. He actually reached out to me, gave me a hand, and now I know exactly what to do. If you're not sure, if you're a content creator and you're a little nervous about what's going to happen, hit me up in the DM, and we'll talk. Because you have to go into your videos, click it on the video editor, and actually just go into where it says audience, and you pick it whether or not it's for kids or it's not. I picked all of my videos.
Do you have to do that for your past videos as well?
Yes,
every video.
378 videos, and that's not a lot for 2 years. I know people that have thousands of videos.
Well, you can do it in the settings. It will make every video like that.
Yes, you can do it in the settings. Yes,
you can do it in everything. Every video will be like that. You don't have to go into every single video, but keep in mind though, future reference, you guys might see a lot of content creators who do Let's Plays, something like Pokemon. Disappear.
They'll go to Mixer or Twitch.
Yeah, and this is where YouTube is really going into that realm where it seems like YouTube is at the end, or they're in the end game at this point.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
Let's wheel this back in and get to Cybernox. Cybernox, what were your thoughts on Grounded? I mean, obviously, again, it's a smaller game, right? But it's from Obsidian. We're not talking about some no-name developer. They obviously believe in the project because they would not have greenlit it. They went into some particulars during the interview. Again, this may not be for everyone, but it's still one. When you talk about okay, and again, this is not a diss on Sony. I obviously everyone that follows me knows how much I absolutely adore their first party. Like that, I live for their games because I just love that over-the-shoulder, adult-themed, story-heavy content. That's what I enjoy. I like these selfish single-player experience. That's who I am because I'm an old bastard, right? That's fine. I get it. But with Microsoft, what I'm noticing is that their palette is wide. And they're bringing games to not only to the Xbox fans, but to Game Pass, that there's going to be something for everyone. And again, this may not be for everyone, but what were your thoughts on Grounded?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Boom. They have to, widen their game studios and their games for a broader audience, right?
Mhm.
And this game reflects that. When I first when I saw this game, I didn't think it was that bad actually. This is a game I can see me playing, with like my nephews
Mhm.
and things like that.
Yes.
Normally they can't play the same games I play, so the more games that I can have and he can have, so we can play together, it's great. And it kind of what Big Cloud alluded to as well, it has some of that Fortnite element, so that grabs them in. I can teach them more things about survival games, how crafting works, and this will probably uh uh show him, or just show him a new genre of games, maybe something that he'll like and continue to grow. As he grows, he'll start to like new games. But it's kind of like what you said too, the transparency that the developers had to have right in the beginning. He's like, this is a game we already had before
Yeah.
Microsoft. I was actually quite surprised that they had to be that transparent about it. But
I think they have to, because
but I did appreciate the
immediately after they
right?
stepped off the stage, people would have been like, "Oh, you see, they're ruining Obsidian."
Yep. And another thing too, Big Cloud also mentioned about the graphics. I also think this has, not necessarily, but it could be because of xCloud. If you think about it, these games will probably run very, very smooth on xCloud. So some of these games that they're making now, they could be thinking about xCloud in the future. I don't know if graphically how demanding that is and how that translates to when you're streaming the game. But I think that can be part of it too. But they were developing this game before, but you can see a lot of these games coming out with the same type of graphics for right now.
Same art style. It's like Pixar. It looked like a Pixar.
It did look like a Pixar game. It did, absolutely. That's a great point.
But yeah, I think the game. I'm interested in the game. Like I said, not like you said, Boom. Not every game is for everyone, but I'm willing to try any game. You know what I mean?
Me too. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good show from Obsidian.
Nice. Well, the Tempest Sun, why don't you close out this particular topic with Grounded? What were your thoughts on it? Do you feel pretty much like everyone else that it was very Pixar-like? And is this something that you can actually see yourself and maybe even your wife playing?
I could for sure see my kids playing it. Absolutely.
Yes.
I could see anybody that likes Minecraft playing it. It's right up, that alley. Honestly, they said 13 people made this game.
13 people. Yes.
Extremely small group of people inside Obsidian. This was a passion project. So, hand clap, kudos to Microsoft for letting them do their thing. It looks like it can be fun. I used to love playing the toy soldier games. Like the little We Are Soldiers, the little
yes.
I used to love that because
that was great.
Yeah, I used to love that. I used to love the one level on Twisted Metal where you're inside a bedroom, and it was because everything is so huge. So I'm hoping maybe you can get into a house or something like that in this game too. That'd be cool too, instead of just outside. But the concept of being really little is pretty stinking cool. The graphics, they looked. They look serviceable, but here again, it was 13 people that made this thing, and I could see it being fun for a lot of people. I'll give it a try because why not? It's coming out on Game Pass. There's no reason not to try it. You might love it, but I could absolutely see my kids playing it for sure. So the comment about a lot of the games looking cartoony, they just delivered Gears 5. One of the most, although that's a little stylized, but that's one of the most realistic looking games I've ever seen, and
Halo Reach
Gears look amazing.
Yeah, and then right after that, although that has a little bit of a different art style, I wouldn't necessarily call it cartoony. They just released the Outer Worlds, which was multi-plat, but Outer Worlds, it's an Obsidian title. Right. So I just, with Rare always having artistic looking games, who's to say that like Compulsion Games game isn't going to look realistic? Or it just, if it fits the theme of the game and what they're going for, it honestly doesn't bother me. Like I'm sitting playing, I'm putting Borderlands.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's as cell shaded as it can get, but it is a demented game. you know, so
I love
you
it.
know, if it fits the game, it fits the game. So I'm not too worried about the art style and stuff. But no, it's a good showing, and the fact that they didn't show the other game that Microsoft wanted to buy them for.
Yes,
What the heck?
and they mentioned that they're working on it. So
yeah,
that's
so,
going to be an E3 reveal for sure. That's going to be, hey, listen,
Oh yeah,
next generation
100%.
like Merry Christmas in July, in June.
Yeah. Mhm.
Real quick before I move on to the next topic, it's a bit of a smaller one. We're going to get through it though. J-Force Games with the outstanding $2 super chat. He says 50 plus games in X Cloud. Yes, we're going to be actually talking about that a little bit later in the show because a lot of X Cloud stuff, a lot of stuff to get really excited about, especially that it's expanding to so many other countries. But again, this is a bit of a smaller topic, but it was still a new IP reveal, and some people really freaked out about it. Age of Empires 4 looked incredible. I'm not an RTS guy, but I have to say that it looked really good, especially because it's in the medieval times. And there was and they put a name to the studio, not just Shannon Loftus Studio. It's called World's Edge Studio, and they're going to be responsible for, of course, Age of Empire. And I think that's a big deal. That is a big deal for people who enjoy the RTS. I'm going to go to Zemi on this. Zemi, what were your thoughts that we finally got a name for the studio, and also what Age of Empires 4 looked like?
I think it's exciting that we finally have a name to go along with what we knew that they were making. We knew that they were, coming out with this Age of Empires game. Medieval check, RTS check, I'm in. And I used to play a little bit of Age of Empires back in the day on an older computer I bought from Walmart because it was one of the only games that I could play. And I fell in love with the series, and I'm a huge series of strategy games. Whenever this comes out, I'm definitely going to have to play it on my computer. I don't think I could play an RTS on Xbox. But I'm very excited. I loved the graphics. Just looking at like the old Age of Empire, which they're remastering and stuff in 4K. That looks absolutely fantastic. Everything's nice, crisp, clear. There's really no blurriness to it, but this game looks absolutely outstanding. And whenever like the Mongols started coming in with the catapults and the English archers were up on the wall shooting down, I absolutely fell in love, and I cannot wait to play this game on Game Pass for PC, hopefully. Yeah, no, and it's gonna be in their day and date. It won't be for. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm speaking out of turn here. They may release it on the Xbox with keyboard and mouse, and maybe at some point they even do controller support. It could possibly happen. BitCloud. Again, not the biggest announcement, but for people who really enjoy this genre, it is a big announcement. What were your thoughts on World Edge Studios finally getting its name publicly announced, and the fact that they announced another new IP?
Again, good. Something new. You know what I'm saying? Keep it. This is my attitude. Keep it coming. New stuff. I want to see
diversity,
diversity. There's nothing wrong with a game that's in a different genre. More, you know what I'm saying? Just because it might not appeal to you, it doesn't mean it might not appeal to another 10,000, And that's where diversity plays that's where the real business is in diversity in your games. You have something for everybody. That way people just get more into it in the ecosystem.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, BitCloud, because you just touched on an important part. When you have a wide variety of games, and you have something like Xbox, Game Pass, and you have something like Xbox Game Pass for PC, and you have something, I don't know, something very small that's been taking the world by storm called Project X Cloud. There's a good chance that if there's something in there for someone, they might consider jumping onto the service. Maybe they don't go and buy an Xbox, okay, but they could subscribe by because they might want to play on the go.
Yep, that is true. And they even I was shocked to see this too, though, but they were showing off the support for all their controllers for Xbox.
Yeah, dude, he has 4 controllers. Oh my God, people were over themselves.
And ones, there was the Elites, the other one,
the Elites. They had the Wildcat.
They showed the disabled one, for those the disabled hit version, that one. It was cool. Like, it was good to see. Oh, they even announced, which was shocking. I don't know how that's going to play a factor into it, but they announced the DualShock 4.
DualShock 4, yes,
will work with Stadia. So that with
XCloud.
That was another interesting little thing. I was like, okay, so maybe they are looking into some other avenues, I guess you can say, with this. So this is interesting for what they're doing.
Absolutely. Before I get to Tempest Sun, I have to thank Infinite AA with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, I think XO was all right. Game Pass and xCloud news was fire. The lack of at least a Fable teaser, which, yeah, I'm right there with you, and no studio acquisitions was disappointing. It was a little bit of a disappointment. I hear you. We're going to give our review towards the end of the show of what we thought, but I do agree with you on a couple of points. Tempest, I'm pretty sure you're a PC guy at times, and to suggest that you might be into the Age of Empires 4, it might be an assumption on my part. What were your thoughts on the game, what it looked like, and more importantly, that the studio actually has a name that the people know? They don't say it's Shannon Loftus Studio, that is actually, it's called World Edge Studio.
Well, it's cool. There's just another studio for Microsoft. So, I mean, is that included in the 15 or is
yes,
that
that's included in the 15?
Yeah,
15? Okay. So, your assumption is correct. I played a ton of Age of Empires 1 and 2. 3 was but 2 was phenomenal. I've actually had definitive edition preloaded on my PC.
Nice.
For a while now. My wife and I, she played it, but way before I ever even met her. So she actually loves the game too. So we've been waiting for it to come out. We've been looking forward to it. The fourth one, it looked awesome. It looked so much bigger.
It looked really good.
It looked really good. It even looked much more 3D, if you will. Like you could pan the camera around however the heck you want, not just the isometric view.
I think it was a pre-alpha, though, to be honest.
Yeah, they called it pre-alpha. I mean, if that's pre-alpha, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess a lot of stuff can change, but yeah, if that's pre-alpha, yes, that's pretty good. But no, I'm excited for it. I'm going to be giving Age of Empires 2 Definitive a try later on. I have to get to Rage 2, which I'm downloading because it
Dude, I put days, not a couple of days into that game. It is so much freaking fun. My God. If you didn't play Rage 2, if you skipped it, I am telling you, get over to Game Pass and download it. It is an amazing freaking first-person shooter.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't, you asked me a different question, but while I'm talking about it, it's one of those games that I have been teetering on the point of buying it numerous times, but eventually it got to the point where I was like, it might come on Game Pass, and even if it doesn't, it just came out so long ago, I might as well wait till it just like really, really, really goes down in price, and then maybe I'll pick it up if I don't forget about it, but bam, I'm downloading it on my PC and I'm downloading it on my Xbox. I'm downloading it in both places because I can. It's part of my subscription. So I don't even know what I'm going to play tonight, Age of Empires or Rage 2. I mean, the service is just ridiculous. I mean, we'll get into
we have that. That's a big topic on tonight's show because my God, my goodness, if this show didn't sell you on Game Pass, quit the business.
Yeah,
pack up your controllers, put it onto the side where the recyclables are, because I recycle, and stop being a gamer. That's all I'm going to say right now.
I agree.
Cybernox, let me get your opinion on this before we move on to the next topic. Age of Empires 4, big for some, small for others, but it looked amazing, and of course, the name for the studio, which I think is really cool. World's Edge Studio is going to be exclusively working on RTS Age of Empire games, and I think that is a big deal. What were your thoughts on what they showed?
I thought it was cool. To be completely transparent, I've never been a real RTS fan. But that's shame on me because I've never given it a true shot. So that's on me. But it's gonna be on Game Pass, like Tempest said. Age of Empires is now on Game Pass. I'll give it a try. But the trailer looked good. I thought, graphically, I was actually surprised on the quality of an RTS, how it looks now compared to what I'm used to seeing. But I thought it was funny too that the production team screwed up. They showed the banner under her name with the studio name before they announced it. I don't know if anybody caught that. I was like,
Yeah, I didn't
Come
catch that.
on, man. Like everybody that was there was surprised, but like the audience watching, you know, we were like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we know it's World's Edge. But yeah, man, I looked at the trailer. I thought it looked good, especially if you're a fan of that genre. I know Age of Empires is a big franchise. So, you know, Tempest just said everything that he needed to sell you on the game. So
Yeah.
I'll be excited. I mean, I can go on Game Pass, download Age of Empires 2 right now, Definitive Edition, and give it a try and see if it's
Yeah.
for me.
You know what's cool?
It's going
You
the
know what's
right way.
cool? Oh, sorry. You know what's cool about the age games in particular is they have a lot of personality. Even the cheat codes are funny. Like
Nice.
the taunts you can do when playing against other people are funny. It's more of a funny game than you really realize it is until you get down and you play. It's got a lot of it's just got a lot of personality. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a big announcement, and like I said, we're going to get into Game Pass, what exactly is coming, because the list is ridiculous. And the ID at Xbox games that they showed off, one in particular, we're going to get into and you know, break down exactly what was in that ID at Xbox. Again, a lot to talk about.
I'm
But I
sure
wanna-
angry to me because they didn't get no showtime. That's what kind of got my nerves.
Who's
too.
this?
There was some of those indie games that they showed.
I agree. I wish we'd seen more.
In that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of there with you. There was some games that they showed. I was like, oh man, I want to see more of that. But it's, you know, we eventually will. Let's talk about CrossfireX for a second, because you know a lot of people are downplaying this game, and I think that's a mistake. Yes, the game has some years on it. Is one of the most popular shooters online, from what we understand. It was also confirmed that this is an Xbox only exclusive, meaning that it's not on PC, it's not coming to PlayStation, it's not coming to the Switch. It is an exclusive for the Xbox console. What's even more interesting, besides the fact that it's going to be in direct competition with Call of Duty Online, which the game looks amazing, it looks stunningly amazing. The Remedy is crafting the single player campaign, which I thought was amazing. That they talked about that as well. And I want to go to BitCloud first on this. BitCloud, this game, again, a lot of people in the States here never heard of it, and I'm one of them. I never heard of CrossfireX. I didn't know what it was until I saw it at E3. They brought it today, and they showed a lot of gameplay. It looked really good, and they talked about Remedy, how they were crafting the single player campaign, which I think is a big deal because it's new. It's an old title with new additions. And the single player campaign is going to be built from the ground up using, what Remedy does in their storytelling. And some people don't like Remedy. I happen to love them. I don't think they're overrated. I really enjoy their games. What were your thoughts on what was shown today for CrossfireX?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think people hate Remedy. I just think they're probably just burnt out on either being disappointed, or they're probably just burnt out on the whole military shooter genre. Right. And everything, so that's probably what it is. Again, the game looked fine. What kind of was taking me out of the game was a certain song that was played.
Oh yeah, I know.
I was not expecting to hear that. I'm like, okay, can we get away from this damn song, please?
It's funny because I know I'm gonna tell you a little something. It's funny you should say that. I have to finish this last half mile on the elliptical. That's song number 3 on my 90s hip hop. So I heard it this morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we get away from this damn
I listened to it this morning on that last half mile.
That's all I heard. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get it. All I hear is DMX screaming up there. Like, oh, no.
I'll put it this way. It's interesting that and we're gonna get into Phil Spencer's comments later on. And as a matter of fact, we're gonna go a little bit outside the box of XO, thanks to a particular comment that Tempestsun came across, and it is folks, if you thought that Phil the nice guy Spencer didn't draw lines in the sand, when you hear this comment, you're gonna know that he's for real for next generation. But Cybernox, let me get your opinion on this, dude. First of all, CrossfireX, again, military shooter in competition directly with Call of Duty. Some people will play it, some people won't. Are you excited to know that an original single player campaign is being made by Remedy Studios, and that this is going to be a day and date release, not only as an exclusive for the Xbox box itself, but right into Game Pass.
Like Kojima said, all we know here is first-person shooters. So I'm excited. Come on now. Damn. No, actually, I do play a lot of first-person shooters. I can't deny that. So I am excited for this game. I thought it was very interesting. They got 3 different studios working on this game. I thought that was really
pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought the game looked good. It seems like it's going to, it reminded me a lot of a Counter-Strike, the way the characters were moving, the sight lines, and the way they were going through in the building. I was actually very surprised. It's going to be exclusively on Xbox, right? Xbox and PC, or just Xbox?
No, just Xbox, dude.
Yeah, I thought that was that was pretty big news. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be free to play as well, right?
Yeah, free to play. Yes,
free to play. Yeah. So that game definitely grabbed my attention. And yeah, I want to see more of it.
Yeah, that makes 2 of us, and I'm interested to see where they go. Tempestsun, let me get your opinion on this, dude. What were your thoughts on CrossfireX? Actually, as a matter of fact, Gunplay FPS is basically saying that it's not Call of Duty that they're in competition with, which I guess can be subjective, but he's saying it's more in competition with Counter-Strike. And the reason why I didn't say Counter-Strike is I know people play it, but my God, there's not been a new Counter-Strike in 100 years. So
yeah, well, see, the Counter-Strike and even this Crossfire, it's just Crossfire over in Korea, but I think it's Korea, maybe even China. I'm not sure, but
I think it's Korea. Yeah,
it's one of the biggest, most popular shooters in the world, just not over here.
Right.
So when I heard that it was coming and it's CrossfireX, they said they were rebuilding it, I think, on the Unreal Engine. So you're essentially getting an older game but with a new coat of paint, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. One thing Counter-Strike does differently is there's almost no BS. It's good sight lines. It's good old-fashioned first-person shooting, competitive shooting. That's really what it is at the end of the day. The way the recoil works on the guns is even different. There's patterns to each gun. It's a lot different. It's the FPS or Gunplay FPS was absolutely right. This is going to be a very easy game to pick up, but it is going to be a true test of skill. Honestly, everybody's going to have the same tools at their disposal to try to do something with it. I could see it being 60 frames per second, 100% of the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm calling it right now, 120 frames per second on Scarlet. That's what this game does. That's what people do. They put on Counter-Strike because it's been out forever, and they run it at 240 frames per second as buttery smooth as they can. It's a very competitive game. That's just what they do with these things. So it looks good. I love DMX. I love that guy. So it's all for me. I was like,
I love
yes, please.
Next, please. That's fun.
So it looked fun. Remedy's doing the campaign. So I feel like they're going above and beyond.
Absolutely, dude. Are you kidding me? They could have just brought this over and thrown it as a free-to-play game, and here you go. You get what you get, but they're spending some bucks on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So count me in.
Yeah, nice. And Zemi Games, why don't you close this out with this, dude? CrossfireX, first-person shooter, but with a bit of a twist. Apparently, the single-player campaign is going to be it's not just being thrown together. Remedy's doing it, and like I said, whether you love them or hate them, they can tell a good story, and I'm interested to see where they take this. What are your thoughts on CrossfireX?
Honestly, with this game, what has me the most excited is the single player aspect of it.
Me too. Absolutely.
I just got done with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it blew me away. And we don't get very many first person shooter storylines anymore. Back in the day, we used to get Battlefields all the time and Call of Duties all the time. It just seems like to me, and anymore, we just don't really get that same experience. With a linear first person shooter, military shooter. Yeah. So for that reason, I'm very, very excited. However, I don't think it's really going to be in competition with Call of Duty. There's been a lot of times that we all say, "Oh, this is going to be major competition for Call of Duty." Call of Duty is the king, still to this day. They still wear the crown.
Yep.
Whenever it comes to first person shooters. And what really kind of has me concerned is, Crossfire's mostly been on PC. They're creating it for the Xbox. I don't know how smooth the controls are. That's one major thing that Call of Duty does absolutely amazingly. And CS:GO actually was ported over to Xbox.
On the 360, I believe.
Yes, and the shooting was absolutely awful. It was absolutely terrible with the controller. Like, it was just not smooth enough. And probably the biggest thing that really, just kind of caught me off guard is that it's going to be free to play. Free to play means they're going to try to monetize this. They have 3 companies working on it. They're going to have to monetize this to make these companies money, unless Xbox is just throwing them, all the money just to get, this game to be an exclusive. But, historically, as we've seen with, free to play games, I'm just kind of worried
one way or another for something.
What's that?
I said, no, free to play games, you're usually paying for something. Whether it be like Rocket League, you play them for cars, decals, this could be guns, maybe.
It won't be pay to win, though. I mean, like, Counter-Strike is a huge business for cosmetics, but you're not going to ever buy an advantage on somebody unless you have an aimbot or something. But it's not a problem on Xbox.
No, absolutely.
Oh, go ahead.
No, finish, Sammy.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I like you guys said, I don't think it's gonna be pay to win, but a lot of these free to play games, like, they really like to shove the microtransactions down your throat.
They do. I mean, listen, it's going to be interesting to see how they go. I think people were alluding to that it's probably going to be cosmetic. It's more than likely going to be like a patch or different color gun or different color helmet. That's fine. If you want to do microtransactions for cosmetics, you listen, have every color in the rainbow. It doesn't matter to me. As long as they don't ruin it with pay to win, then we're going to be perfectly fine. And I think this game is going to surprise a lot of people. Let's talk about a game that surprised me even more. I know that Zemi, I'm going to go you first on this, Zemi, because you didn't have a lot of good things to say, and that's what's great about these shows. We don't all agree, even though someone wrote me on Twitter and said that, oh, you're having another show, great, everyone's just going to agree. I don't remember what the guy's name is. I wouldn't shout him out anyway, but I had to kind of scold him and let him know that is a lie. But Zemi, Bleeding Edge got a new trailer, got a new character as well. We got a release date, March 24th. I'm super stoked. For me personally, being one of my favorite systems of all time to this day is the Sega Dreamcast. I have 86 games for it in storage. I have the American version. I have the Japanese version. I absolutely loved what Capcom did with Power Stone 1 and 2. I get those vibes, so I'm very excited for this game. But Zemi, you did not think the same thing. What were your thoughts on Bleeding Edge?
Whenever I first saw it at E3, I didn't really care for it. I just thought it looked a little bit too out there, a little bit too weird. It kind of seemed like it was having a identity crisis, just in my opinion.
Okay.
And whenever I heard that they were going to talk about it, I was actually really kind of excited, wanted to see gameplay and stuff. And everything that I saw, it just did not hit any bells for me. It looks a little bit too weird for me. It kind of looks like an Overwatch game with the camera shot out a little bit further. I guess a lot further, because I don't know. In Overwatch, there are some times where you can go into third person, but it looks like the camera's pretty far out there, and it just kind of like, I don't know. It just looks like an Overwatch with nothing but melee. I just don't really like the idea of it. I don't really like the look of it. I'm going to try it whenever it comes to Game Pass, of course. But, it's not ringing any bells for me, and it's a little upsetting because I want to like the game. It's just, I haven't found anything to like about it yet.
Okay. I mean, listen, dude, again, I want to reiterate, not every game is for every gamer, and that is perfectly fine. Let me go to Cybernox on this. Bleeding Edge, again, being made. I think the original size of the team was like 9 or 10 people. Right, this is one of those passion projects that they wanted to do. I think the team is up to a whole whopping 15 people currently, and I think that this game is going to be special. I think it's going to be special because it's unique, it's different. It's a 4v4 game with different characters. Now, obviously, you can immediately make comparisons to Overwatch, but it's a brawler, not a shooter. Even though there's some gunplay in it, I'm very excited for this game personally. What are your thoughts on the new trailer?
I'm sorry to do this to you, Boom, but
no,
like Zemi, I'm more out than in on this game. I wanted to like it. The concept of it seemed kind of cool. A third-person brawler that you're going there, multiplayer, 4v4. there's just something about this game that I've seen that's not captivating me in the way that I wanted to. But that can change once you actually play the game and you try it out for yourself, right? But for some reason, the way they're showcasing this game, the trailer didn't really grab me. I thought it was weird that they're just showing these characters shooting their powers. Like I was just like, okay, I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. I'm glad, I'm glad that that Ninja Theory got a chance to create one of their passion projects. I'm always happy for that because hopefully that passion comes through in the game. And we'll see when it comes out on March 24th, right?
March 24th. Yep.
They'll be on Game Pass, so we'll see it then. But for right now, I'm more out than in on this game.
Okay, not a problem. I mean, I appreciate the honesty. BitCloud, let me get your opinion on this, dude. First of all, again, small team, passion project, a game that was being worked on before Microsoft purchased, Ninja Theory, and I've got to be honest with you, it looks a ton better than than it originally showed at E3 2019. And they added a new character, and is this something they're going to be doing on a regular basis? Very similar to Overwatch. Are you out or in when it comes to Bleeding Edge?
Well, like you said, yeah, it looks better than the original, like early streams that we saw, the early shots. It looks better. The thing about this game, though, the release date that they announced or whatnot for it, it was already leaked before the show happened.
Thank God I didn't know. Thank goodness.
I didn't know either.
That happened a little like 4 hours before the show even went live, and I was like, oh God, like going into the show. So that took a little bit more out of the game for me right there, because I was like, I already knew what to really expect. But gameplay wise, looks fine. The only thing that I'm not really sold on is the fact that it's always online.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
I don't like always online games. I don't like that at all. The concept's cool. It's a fighter kind of, so I thought that was different. I didn't think it was a fighter. Thought it was legit going to be a shooter like Overwatch, but it's not. So it's like a brawler. Looks fine, but again, always online. Not really.
All right. I mean, listen, again, it's one of those games that if you are into character shooters, hero character, shooter or brawlers, this is probably gonna is gonna fill your cup of tea. And if it's not something you're into, well, I mean, you could just pass on it. But if you do have Xbox Game Pass, you can play and not even take a chance of spending. Someone said that it's going to be $30 and that's too much. Yeah. I don't necessarily think so. For
Game Pass pretty much shine through for the whole.
Yeah, Game Pass. Yeah, we're actually going to bring that up next about how ridiculous Game Pass is currently. Let's see, Tempestsun. Let me get your opinion on this. Bleeding Edge, March 24th. It's again a smaller title, but I think it's going to do some big numbers. I think people are going to play it. I don't think the game shows as well as it plays. I think if you're watching the game, you're like, oh, okay, I see there's wacky characters there. But I think that if you hold the control and you start playing it, I think it's going to be a different scenario. And of course, it's going into Game Pass day and date. What are your thoughts on what they showed?
The trailer was kind of, Cyber was right. It's kind of weird, just a weird trailer. But besides the trailer, the release date's fine. There's a lot coming out around that time, but it's going into Game Pass. Everybody's going to try it. And it does play better than it shows. I'm pretty sure. There's a bunch of YouTubers that like Eric's Gaming. That's like his most look forward to game, pretty much, period, because he says it just plays like a dream. These people know how to do melee combat. They just know. That's like what the company's almost built around, is their melee focused combat. So that's probably going to be right. Anytime you introduce any form of abilities on hero characters, balance is very, very, very tricky. So that's, the only thing I'm a little worried about, I would want to play it myself. The only gripe I have with the game, and is really my only gripe, is it looked like the characters are they took a handful of deranged lunatics and then beat them with the ugly stick. They just beat them hard with that stick, man, because those characters are just like, I'm a grown man, and that Buttercup character just like, I shiver in my boots, man. Ooh, it's just terrible. But anyway,
I mean, listen, again, it is wacky. I am going to say that the characters are really, really out there, but
Yeah.
Again, it might play so good that you're willing to overlook the wackiness.
That's probably what will happen. I have full faith in Ninja Theory as a whole, but they do know how to do their melee combat, so it's looking good to me.
I'm not gonna lie, I like that little wacky look for those characters. I like when they go totally one side of the spectrum. You know what?
Yeah.
You know, go all the way to the right. Go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
Go crazy. Yeah.
Go crazy.
Well, you throw it against the wall, whatever sticks, that's your character, right?
That's it. Sometimes
blindly throwing darts. Well, listen, so far we've covered a lot, but I have to, because a lot of people in the chat are talking about it. You guys have been talking about it. Let's talk about what Xbox Game Pass brought to this show. First of all, and I really mean this, folks. I don't mean to insult anybody, but I got to tell you, if you are on the train of Xbox does not have value, then I'm gonna have to call you a fraud. And I don't have a fraud light to like King David to bring out, because the amount of games coming to Game Pass. Let's just kind of slow up for a second. First of all, regarding Game Pass, I want to just go back to the Square Enix games that are coming. By the way, if you didn't know, every Square Enix game you could possibly imagine is coming. Right, it's coming into Xbox Game Pass. But more specifically, which I thought was a big win for Team Xbox, is you're going to be getting into Xbox Game Pass. Besides all those amazing Final Fantasy games that people are going to play, people are going to play the shit out of those games.
Mm-hmm.
But Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8, games that were only ever available on the PlayStation, and I've been beating this drum since Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. I'm saying, hey, listen, it would be nice if the fans who don't have a PlayStation could play these games. That's a big deal. Crispy, what were your thoughts on that Square Enix interview? First of all, I love the fact that the guy for Square Enix was very animated. He was very excited, and I was excited for him, and I'm excited for anyone that's a big fan of all of these Final Fantasy games, because they're all coming to Xbox Game Pass. What are your thoughts on that, dude? No, maybe
were you talking to me?
Yeah, no, I was talking to BitCloud.
Oh,
I'm sorry. What was that?
No, I was saying about all of these Square Enix games coming to Game Pass, including Kingdom Hearts 2.5, 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's good. They're finally getting those on the service. That's fine. If you never played those games, let's say you never owned a PlayStation and you really wanted to try them out, you can play them on Game Pass. That's cool. Kind of makes you what other older titles that they'll probably go and add to the actual service, like maybe Banjo-Kazooie could get added to the service. Old school ones. So that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. It looks no problem there. I don't know if this is going to tie into them getting Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm sure it's only going to be an exclusive for 3 to 4. I don't know if it's a year. I think people are. Then Square hasn't confirmed that either, so we don't know. It's probably a launch exclusive that they did, and that's fine. It's eventually coming to the Xbox platform, and if it's not, and you know what? If you remember, there was a lot of talk about that was they just announced it for the PlayStation. It wouldn't surprise me if it's 30 days.
Yeah.
A month.
I don't know what's going on here. It's interesting for sure. But
they have a good relationship with Square Enix. There's no doubt about it.
It's definitely evident. If Square Enix is even willing to put some of their most iconic titles on the actual service, then that's a win. Game Pass really did stick out though. If you think about it, even if let's say you didn't want to pay full price for like 90% of the games that were shown, you now have a way of testing them anyway. If you really wanted to be interested or you were interested.
No, it's definitely true. Well, listen again, choices, folks. Spending the $15 a month or buying it when it's on sale. Like someone put in the chat, 3 months for $1.
Yeah,
3 months of Game Pass starting November 14th for $1, folks. $1. $1 for 3 months. You give it a shot.
Insane.
It's ridiculous. Let me go to Cybernox on this. Only specifically the Square Enix segment where they made these announcements. Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered, Final Fantasy IX, 10 HD Remastered, 10.2 HD Remastered, Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, 13, 13.2, Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 15. I mean, it's ridiculous, that many titles coming to Xbox Game Pass. And if you are a fan of this genre of Square Enix, you're going to get your money's worth in just these titles, not everything else that's in there.
Oh, 100%. I've continually said that the best gaming subscription service it's Xbox Game Pass, without a doubt in my mind. They just got, most of, or if not all, the Final Fantasy games now coming to the service. The Yakuza franchise is coming to the service. Kingdom Hearts is coming to the service. Like, they announced like 50 games today for Xbox Game Pass. Like, I know they rotate games out, but there are a lot more games coming into the service than there are games coming out.
Yes.
Like, I think in November, there are either like 4 or 5 games that are going out. But look at how many games are coming in. It's insane, man. Like, it's pretty crazy. And it alludes to the potential that they see with a subscription service, And it shows the hard work that Phil has been doing going over there.
Well, he said in his interview that he's been going back and forth to Japan quite often, and there's a reason for that. And you know what? Good on Phil for doing that. I mean, he cares what the people think. I mean, when he was being interviewed, he said, "I hear you guys. I hear the fans, and we're making adjustments based on the fan the fan feedback." That's the right hand of Satya Nadella, guys. Oh, yeah. And he's talking that he's hearing what you're saying.
And just think about, like, if this does well for the developers as well, it does well for Square Enix and things like that. Like, for future businesses, this will be a no-brainer for them. They'll be like, of course, you want our games on Game Pass? Look how well it did last time we put our games over there. Not a problem. Here you go. So it's in a Xbox Game Pass, man. If you don't have it right now, there's a great deal, like somebody mentioned in the chat, and on 3 months for $1. Like, you can't beat it. Like, come on, if you want to try it, go ahead and give it a try. Like, once you have the service and you start playing some of the games there and you see the value in it, there is no way you cannot have that service. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Zemi Games, I want to get your opinion, but before I do, I just have to shout out Deadeye in the chat, and he brings up a really good point. He says, these are coming to Game Pass. That means that Xbox may have a ton of Xbox Game Pass subscribers. And yes, earlier in the week, there was a story that broke where the number of 9.5 million Xbox Game Pass subscribers was thrown out there by Video Game Chronicles. And someone else ran a story on it that they quoted them in saying, and I don't know if that's the exact number, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least. But Zemi, when you hear that Square Enix is launching all of these games into this service, it's pretty incredible, the amount of titles, but more specifically, you're getting games that were never ever released before on an Xbox platform in Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5, and I believe it's 2.8 is the other one, if I'm getting it right. That's a freaking big deal.
Zemi, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
I gotta go.
So okay, yes.
I gotta go take care of the little guy. Big Cloud, it was a pleasure, bro. First time podcasting with you. Chat, it's been real. I'll talk to you guys later. You guys enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, thanks, brother. We appreciate it. Thanks again, Zemi. So, what are your thoughts on this? This is a big. Like I said, people are kind of downplaying this. It's a big freaking deal.
I mean, it's a huge deal, especially whenever you remember that there is a crap ton of Xbox consumers out there who have been talking and begging and pleading to get more Japanese inspired games over here to this platform. So it is a huge deal. And it would have been a huge deal if they got, a few Final Fantasies, but they got pretty much all of them, right? I mean, that is a major victory. And and then also with Kingdom of Hearts, whenever the third one came out, I was honestly kind of shocked. Whenever, it was announced that Kingdom of Hearts 3 was going to come to Xbox, I was, relatively shocked. And whenever that happened, a lot of people were, asking to play all the original games on Xbox as well. Unfortunately, now that's going to happen as well. And it just shows you the value that Xbox has in their consumers and trying to keep their consumers happy. And it also shows you that there's not really a very good reason to unsubscribe from Xbox Game Pass. You know, a lot of these services like Netflix, Hulu, whatever it may be, I'll subscribe to, watch, you know, the show I specifically want to watch, and then I'll back off. But with Game Pass, it just seems like they just keep giving you more and more reasons to subscribe. And what's actually kind of funny about this is, Boom, there was a few podcasts ago, you know, you've said it multiple times and I said it as well. You know, if you're not subscribed to Game Pass, what exactly are you waiting for? Well, I guess the joke's on us, because this might have been what you were waiting for. I mean, this is huge news.
Yes. And they couple that news with $1 for 3 months.
Yes. I mean, outrageous value.
Ridiculous.
Outrageous value. I don't know. I mean, I know why they're doing it, you know, but I mean, it's just, you know, it's just more and more value to the gamers. You know, back in the day, we used to only be able to get, you know, a couple of games a year, you know, some of us, at least me. Right. And now I have access to, you know, 200 plus games, you know, at my disposal whenever I want them for $15 a month. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, you know, real quick, somebody in the chat was, and I have it in my notes. I was going to kind of bring it back around. I don't want to spend too much on Game Pass, but because there's a lot. There's a lot to talk about. Yakuza, the trilogy, that's only been on PlayStation, is coming not only to the Xbox, folks, but it's going to be an Xbox Game Pass. I mean, that is a big deal. I mean, and let's talk about some of the smaller titles that they showed off. First of all, the one that shined for me, that I actually thought I was seeing things, was My Friend Pedro. Now, if you don't know what that game is, it is basically a Deadpool game with a guy that uses bananas. It is one of the most violent games you will ever play. It's a side scroller. You do trick shots. I'm playing it on the Switch. It's amazing. And I thought that was only going to be a Switch exclusive. And that's coming to Game Pass. That is a big deal. Streets of Rage 4 coming to Game Pass day and date. Folks, listen, if you're an old school cat like me, you remember playing Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3 on your Genesis. That game looks amazing. I love side-scrolling beat-em-ups. We don't have enough of them in this world, and that looks absolutely astounding coming into Game Pass. I mean, again, there's so much we can talk about that's going into Game Pass. If you're not subscribed, I gotta tell you, man, good on you that you waited this long, because you're gonna get 3 months for $1, which is ridiculous. But let's talk about a game that's coming in that we finally got some information on, that I think everybody on the panel is going to be excited to talk about, and that's Halo Reach. December 3rd, going into the Master Chief Collection, going into Xbox Game Pass on console, on PC. It's going to Steam. It's going to be everywhere. And I want to go to BitCloud. First of all, it's been redone in 4K graphics. It's going to be running at 60 FPS. And they showed off a lot of it, and it looks amazing. And you know what? Again, I understand. So some people will probably say, "Well, you know, Boom, it's an old game. You know, it's Halo Reach. It's the only game that has not been in the Master Chief Collection. And if you're not excited for it, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I mean, this was one of the main games. If I remember correctly, people were wanted in the collection. So now that it's in there, it's good. They get to play it on PC, and I think it's coming to the Xbox, right? Also, it's on that one.
Yep.
Okay, so it's gonna be on both. Everybody gets to play Reach, 60 frames, 4K, cool. Again, it's Halo. I've seen Halo over and over, but that's a big announcement for them. I would say Yakuza was probably a little bit bigger, like more of a bigger announcement than that.
Yeah, well, Yakuza, everyone's been asking for. Yeah, I mean, no, everyone has been asking for that series to come over.
Yeah, so the fact they got Yakuza is what threw us all through a loop. I was like, okay, wow, they actually were able to get Yakuza. So what else could they possibly be working on in terms of deals to get on?
Makes you wonder.
Or the next Xbox. So, you know, that's where the question lies.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see which way that they go. And let me go to Zemi Games on this. Zemi, again, it's a big deal because people have been asking for a Halo Reach. They've been working on it. A lot of people, it's the one Halo game that's not in there, and we're finally getting it on December 3rd. Are you excited to go back into Reach?
No, absolutely. So I'm a huge Halo fan. I haven't read all the books. I've read quite a few of them. I, watch all like the little mini movies and so I'm a huge Halo fan. And just a few months ago, I was replaying through all of the Halo games that are currently available in the Master Chief Collection. And I just felt like it was not complete. I felt like there was, a prequel somewhere. And it looks like there was. It's Halo Reach and it's coming out, and I'm super excited, and I'm gonna probably play it day one unless there's something else out at that time, like an even newer game that I have to play for a review or something. But I'm super excited for it. And one thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about, and this is actually pretty big in my opinion, is that it's also coming to PC. It's going to be they're bringing the Master Chief Collection onto Game Pass for PC, but they're also adding it onto Steam, which is great because there are quite a few PC players that want to play Halo, and they just Halo's just never been that strong on releasing, to PC. So I think that's absolutely amazing that finally people will be able to play more Halo on there, and they're going to get their little wish to come true as well. But I'm super excited, super stoked. Cannot wait to get my hands on it.
Nice. And of course I want Tempest finish out this again. It's not the huge topic, and some people will be like yawning, and that's fine. I hear you if it's Halo Reach is not for you, but it is a big deal because it's coming into Xbox Game Pass. It's been redone in 4K graphics. It's going to be running at 60 FPS. I am jazzed to play that game again. I did not play it enough. Normally I run through a Halo title 5 and 6 times. I think I only beat Reach twice. And I say only because, you play it on normal and you try and play it with your friends on heroic. You know what I'm saying? On legendary. You want to get that achievement for that. Are you excited to go back to Reach?
I am. Unless I missed it, you also got a super chat from Dreadpool. He said,
"Oh my God, yes.
Super chat. It said, you mean to tell me that $15 for Ultimate Game Pass is not a great value ? Meaning it is.
Yeah.
So
ridiculous. Thank you for the generosity, Deadpool. Thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate it.
And also awesome. I'm waiting to play it. I only beat it once, probably because it's a heavy game. Like if you get into it, it's not pleasant,
No, people are
it's
dying.
very emotional.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. So but it's been a while. I'll gladly go through it again if I have time. But it's a lot of people's favorite Halo. I mean, it's not mine, but it's a lot of people's favorite Halo. So it's awesome that it's finally coming here. I mean, it's called the Master Chief Collection, and it's not Master Chief's game. So it's just added value they're adding to this game that came out in 2014. So it's like, I mean, come on, it's pretty awesome. But no, it's pretty exciting. And just to clarify, I see people in the chat back on the Final Fantasy topic. I just wanted to reiterate, with all that coming out, Phil announced that we are getting Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, that is only on PC and PS4 on Xbox. It's
nice, dude. Nice.
Here. So that's a big deal. Just so much, all the Yakuza games. It wasn't just one, too. It was I think the trilogy.
Yeah, it was a trilogy.
On Game Pass. All of this is on Game Pass, dude. It's to the point where it's almost like ridiculous. Like it's too much. Like, you sit on Netflix and you're looking for something to watch, and before you know it, you spent 45 minutes looking at their originals. And you're like, what do I want to watch? I'm going to do that on Game Pass. I'm like, what do I want to play? 2 hours goes by. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go to bed. It's just too much, man, in a good way, but it's nuts. It's crazy.
Well, listen, you brought up Phil Spencer, and this is the after hours Phil Spencer. He did an interview, and do me a favor, Tempest. Well, why don't you talk about that interview and what it means to you as an Xbox fan?
Yeah. So Tom Warren, I guess from The Verge, on Twitter, he posted a quote and said, Microsoft's head of Xbox says the next gen Project Scarlet Xbox will not be out of position on power or price versus Sony's PlayStation 5. Couldn't have said it any clearer. The line has been drawn. He is telling us we're going to be the best. He just outright said it. He name dropped Sony's PlayStation 5. So he took the gloves off, man. He's ready to go to town.
I got to tell you, when you read that to me originally, and I was like, well, we want to make it a bit of a topic because, this is the Xbox Factor podcast. And even though we are, we'll give our impressions and grades for, the show towards the end of tonight's show. I gotta tell you, man, when normally Phil, he's one of those guys that walks silently and carries a really big stick, right? And when you don't expect it, he knocks your teeth out. And you're sitting there and you're so dumbfounded that your teeth are on the floor, but that this guy, the nice guy, Phil Spencer, the nice guy, the guy that wears all the game t-shirts, he just punched me in the mouth. And that's exactly what he just did. And folks, if you had any question into whether the next generation Xbox is going to be the shit, pardon my French, I could tell you that statement says that it is. And the fact that he name drops, he doesn't say the other competition or other developers or other console makers. He specifically says the PS5, and that quote ring. I mean, everyone's going to be talking about it for the next week or so, because that is my shit is bigger than yours kind of a quote. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that the fans needed to hear that. I think that this really kind of draws a line in the sand to say that. I mean, you got to remember, he said it that they were never ever going to relinquish the Power Crown ever again. And I talked about this. I think it was last Xbox Factor podcast. Zemi, you, me, and Welsh talked about the fact that currently Sony is working with AMD, and that sounds great. They're working together, right? They're sharing an office. They're at the they're at the water cooler talking about the last night's UFC fight. And while they're doing that, all the way in the basement, Phil and team, they're co-engineering the chips going into the Scarlet. That kind of says that our shit is better than yours. And if you don't, I mean, again, I'm getting a PS5 day one, and I'm hoping there's going to be great games to play for it. But as an Xbox fan who plays most of his gaming on the Xbox brand, I am happy to hear that. Zemi, when you hear that statement from Phil Spencer, do you feel confident in the Scarlet?
Yeah, I mean, but see, like, the thing is I don't even need to hear that statement to be confident in the Scarlet. You know what I mean? I've been following what Microsoft has been doing. I've been looking at them closely. I know, where they're, somewhat where their head's at. And so even without that statement, I'm more than confident to know that the $500, $600, whatever I end up, maybe $400 if I'm lucky, whatever I spend on the Xbox Scarlet is going to be worth it. And I hopefully that's clear to everyone that's looking at these two consoles, trying to figure out which one they're going to buy. Hopefully, they're getting closer to figuring out which console they're going to buy. But I'm completely 100% confident in Xbox's ability making this console. They've done nothing but impress me these last couple of years. It's not the same Xbox that we saw in 2013. They seem to care more about the consumer. They care. They care more about trying to do better than the competition than they did before, and just ultimately they just seem like they're a better company for what happened in 2013. But out of that statement, versus the power and the price, he said, we're going to have the a more powerful console, or at least equivalent, or the word.
Right.
Anyway, and then he also mentioned the price. I think that the price is the part of that statement that really gets to me more, especially when there's a lot of people out there that cannot, just throw down $500 or $600 or $700. It's good to know that that's also a main focus on them. And I think that should be the bigger highlight than power, because, there's a lot of people out there that do have a hard time paying for these consoles. And it looks like Phil is definitely trying to make it as affordable as possible.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've heard, and he didn't say it, and we've heard, Dealer was on the Xbox Factor podcast a couple of shows ago. If you want to go listen to some pretty unbelievable information he dropped live on the air, the fact that the cheaper console that Microsoft was originally talking about developing two consoles is still a thing. It hasn't been defunct, and they could be releasing a $300 console, for that's going to have a better CPU than the X. So in power wise, it actually might edge out the X, but it'll be a cheaper version. And then they're going to have the $500 monster, and that's going to have all the bells and whistles. And I think that if they do that, they're gonna kind of catch Sony down with their pants down, so to speak, because obviously tomorrow morning's Breakfast with Boom, we're going to be going into some really big patents that were found that cartridges will be coming to the PlayStation 5, but it's not what you think. So tune in tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as we break down that topic. But that's really interesting. Tempestsun, let me get your opinion on this. Oh no, I'm sorry, we already got your opinion because you actually led the charge on this. BitCloud, when you hear Phil Spencer makes this statement and then specifically name drop the PS5, that to me, again, I'll say it sounds like a line in the sand. And I think that it's a vote of confidence that he knows what is under the hood and that he is not afraid of what Sony's going to be bringing to the table, simply because of two very important parts. One, Sony is working with AMD, and that's great. But Microsoft is co-engineering with AMD the chips. And I think that's a bigger deal that no one is really talking about. What are your thoughts on Phil's statement?
Well, wasn't Sony co-making their chip with Lisa Su?
No, they're working with them, from what I understand. I never heard about anything co-engineering.
Okay, so... or maybe it was Mark Cerny. Then I got it mixed up with them. Maybe Mark Cerny was working closely with Lisa or whatever to get.
I mean, they probably are, but like I said, the terminology of working with versus or co-engineering is a big difference.
Yeah, I guess. Looking at the situation now, as someone who's covered literally everything for the next gen systems, this could mean that they have the power advantage, but it also could be another thing entirely. Maybe it's bait to get Sony to announce something of their hardware,
Well, they've been announcing a lot of stuff. Microsoft is the one that's been quiet.
Not quite. If you really think about it, Sony only released certain key details that we already knew about. For example, we knew about the SSD. That was patented a long time ago, right? They confirmed the SSD and load times. They showed you a few demos with load times. Microsoft did the exact same thing. They showed you that they are going to have that, supposedly, right? And of course, they gave out the feature. The latest news they gave out for PS5 was with the DualShock 5, right? And that was for haptic trigger feedback. After that, everything else went kind of ghost. There's nothing else mentioned for PlayStation 5. And I'm wondering maybe that statement could have been, just bait to get them to say something. But again, if they do have the power advantage, they have the power advantage. There's nothing I can really say there, right? Either one side is going to have the power advantage, and if it is a power advantage, it might be better, like in terms of. I don't think it's going to be like this night and day difference type of thing. I don't think it's going to be like that unless they're willing to really charge you like an insane amount for, I don't think it's going to be that insane margin in terms of the power advantage. From what I'm looking at, for what we saw for these chips and the SCUs, they're going to be pretty much on the same level. Both particular platforms are going to be on the same level. I'm not sure, again, it's going to come down to the games, but I'm not sure what they're going to do in terms of the graphical performance.
It's going to be interesting. All I know is that I'm getting both, and I'm there day and date.
You getting both day one, so again, as far as the different models. I remember we talked about that a long time ago because I remember Sony supposedly was going to have another model too. There was a rumor too. Nothing's been debunked on that, right? For Sony having two models, I don't know.
No, they're just been quiet on it. No one was able to confirm or deny it. No one from Sony made any comments about it. So.
It's definitely interesting. I don't know. Maybe you'll have an entry-level system, and maybe you'll have the more premium advanced one that has all the features.
I got to be honest with you. On tomorrow's topic, I think that's pretty much been debunked. It's going to be one SKU, and they're going to.
I don't think so, but if they ever would do that, that just didn't. Again, that just opens up different, not necessarily options, right? It just makes it a little bit more tricky. And how do you actually promote that with the other? Especially when you have so many consoles out as of right now. You have the SAT edition, the Xbox One X. How do you even market another two for next gen? That just doesn't make sense to me.
We'll see. It's certainly going to be interesting. But listen, folks, we are almost we're past the 90-minute mark. Normally, this is when we do these post shows. It runs about 90 minutes. I want to thank everybody for being here. But before we get out of here, I want to get everyone's grade. Big Cloud, I'll start with you. Well, if you were going to grade the Xbox show that happened today, what would be your grade?
I mean, they showed games, right? They showed new games. Even though a good chunk of these games weren't really for me, I would say the Artful Escape was a nice show.
Yeah, that looked great.
Yeah, I'm glad we have release for that finally, because I remember when we first saw that they kind of went ghost on it. So that game's finally coming out, so that looks good. But a lot of these games they show they really weren't for me as much. But to be fair, I mean, obviously they did deliver on some new promises. I'll give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10.
Okay. Tempestsun, what would you before we get everybody out of here and do the outros, what would you give Xbox for today's Inside Xbox?
Honestly, dude, there was so much good news in this show.
It was.
It just was. I mean, even if not all the games are for you per se, just the implications of what they announced, the fact that Square Enix's history is coming. I mean, some of those games are on Xbox, but like a solid 8.5.
Yeah.
The only way it would have been like higher than that is if they would have shown like Fable or something, that would have freaked the heck out. But there's so much good news. Just take one. Normally Twitter's a cesspool of negativity. Just go down Twitter and you'll just see countless
Everyone
people
was excited with today's annount.
Yeah,
Everyone
they loved it. It's just games, and dude, it's awesome, dude. I couldn't really be happier, to be honest with you.
No, that's a great score. And Zemi Games, what would your opinion on Inside Xbox for closing out 2019?
Man, it was a great show. Honestly, I would have to say this is probably the best Inside Xbox. I don't think that it's possible for not one person to have watched that and not have been interested in at least one of the mini games that they showed off.
Yeah,
I wish that they would have shown a little bit of 12 minutes because I'm super pumped about that game. I really wish that they would have showed something about Fable because I'm a fanatic whenever it comes to that. But even with them not doing that, I'm gonna have to give it a 9.
That's a great point. Hey, listen, I agree with you right there. And my particular score, I'm gonna have to agree with with Zemi. I want to give it a 9 simply because there was a lot of information, and like I said, we didn't have a lot of time, but they went into a couple of segments with xCloud, which was very interesting. That 50 games next year are coming to the service. Then they have all of the different countries, and it's going to Japan, it's going to India, it's going to Canada next year. There was all the Game Pass announcements, the new IPs that they showed off, even though they may not be for you, they were still new IPs. I have to agree with you. I enjoyed Inside Xbox so much that probably what I'm going to do is when I'm this weekend when I'm writing Monday night show, I'm probably going to be watching it again. This is because it just was so much for me anyway, information overload, that I didn't get a chance to appreciate all of the smaller things that we didn't get to talk about, like West of the Dead with Ron Perlman, who's doing the voice. That game looked freaking outstanding. And it's just again, it's one of those shows that there was literally so much to talk about. This could be a 3-hour podcast. And I'm gonna go with a high 9 here, and I'm proud to give it that because I really think that they really put the stamp on giving service for your money. They're showing the customer that yes, we care about you, and your dollar is going to go further on our box. And I think that they really sewed that up real nice. But I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here. We had 187 people watching live, which is a record for this show. More specifically, Xbox Factor Podcast. I want to thank the chat. You guys were amazing as always. Interacting with us, talking, playing nice with one another. It was a great show, great chat. I want to thank, of course, everyone that donated into the super chat. You guys are just extremely generous. I cannot thank you enough for your generosity, and of course my panel. You guys were amazing. A big shout out to Cybernox, who had to go, and sorry we didn't get we didn't get the Welsh Gamer in today. He was supposed to be here. I don't know what happened, but hopefully he is okay. He'll be back in his regular chair next week. But I want to wish everyone a good evening. If you've already pre-ordered Star Wars, I believe that on the East Coast it's going to be able. You'll be able to start playing at hey, that's Noof Nukem in there. Hey Noof, thanks for being here, dude. Appreciate it. I believe that 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will be able to start playing Star Wars: The Jedi Fallen Order, which I cannot wait for. And everyone, listen, if you enjoyed tonight's show, get ready because we have a real big action-packed show for tomorrow morning's Breakfast with Boom. And I'll be making an announcement on who is going to be on that panel as soon as the show is over. But again, everyone, have a great night. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. Good night, everyone.